Hi, my name is Christopher Hernandez, and this is the first ever episode of In My Opinion with Christopher Hernandez. And I'm looking for my props. Basically, you probably are asking, what is this show about? And why am I even here watching this? I basically feel that we have a freedom of speech, and I'm going to use that over the course of these videos to help inform. And you're like, are you an expert? No, I'm not an expert. The reality is, I'm thinking of what I went through about 2 years ago and looking to become more involved in the community. So the first thing I'm going to talk about is the bond issue. And the bond issue, I'm not for it. I am voting no. But I'm not voting no forever. I'm voting no until we have a good conversation about the things that we've been doing with the money for the school and what we're planning to do with this next large sum, $110.7 million that they're asking us to vote yes for. And when I say they, I'm saying the USD 305 district who's asking us for this bond issue. Us, the citizens, the entire community, whether you own a home, don't own a home, you all have a say, which you should. But I'm not saying no for the same reasons that the Salina Journal did in an editorial on this past Sunday, March 23rd. It was a great little editorial, well constructed, well written, and pointed out a lot of things financially about why it's not sound. So they stuck to more of that kind of resource. I'm looking at it from a perspective of what they did in the past with the previous bond issue, what they chose not to share with us as a community. When you choose not to share something, and this is just my opinion, then I feel like you have something to hide. Now, there was still a public meeting, but let's face it, how many of us attend these public meetings? We all say we're too busy. Heck, my job is at night. So I'm in that group. But while I'm in that group, I'm still voting, but I had to figure out how to get the information. In the interest of time, because the election is just around the corner, it ends on Tuesday the 8th, you have to have it in there by noon. And so what we're going to go over is voting. So if you're already registered to vote, this is for you. If you've already filled out your ballot, you can skip this. But if you don't know what to do, I'm going to walk you through it. I have an envelope here that came in the mail. This isn't the actual envelope. And no, my name is not what you see in front of you. Okay, so after that, you'll get a nice little sheet that tells you, and these are not props, these are the actual official ones. So you get a little piece of paper. This is giving you some instructions. I could go and read through this for you, but I would just suggest reading it yourself. And then you have a ballot. One thing that I thought was kind of funny is I've walked up to people as they're like, what? We're voting on one thing? Because you may have seen some vote yes things around town. And the reality is, yes, you are voting on one thing. You are being asked to vote yes or no to a $110.7 million bond issue. The one thing that we were asked to do when we went to get some of this information from the county clerk, Don Merriman, we are talking about this little envelope that you're going to mail back in before April 8th. Okay, this is the front side of it. You put your ballot inside of it. Of course, you seal it. But then I want you to pay close attention to the left side. I'm going to actually point to it. Now, if you read through the entire paragraph, you would find that they want you to write your address. So hopefully it matches to what it's been sent to. Otherwise, your ballot may or may not count. But I know it certainly does not count, and it is even being pointed out by Superintendent Hall that they want to make sure that you put your signature right there. See where it says signature and you have the little line? Please remember to sign it. In fact, that was in their Board of Education brief notes. Again, some of the things I'm mentioning, I will be teaching you about what is a Board of Education brief. What is some of these other things? Okay, now, the second thing I said I would cover in this video is why I'm not voting yes. I am voting no on the bond issue for several reasons. Number one, I have public records that state how they're going to be using the funding. While the Salina Journal was nice enough to point out how we can't necessarily afford this, or that we've already assumed so much debt, or have already had taxes raised so much, I'm thinking more to just being honest with us. No one is perfect. People make mistakes all the time, and I think the Board of Education does a great job of doing most things right. But there's been some decisions made with the city on legislation that is your guys' fault as well as mine. We don't attend the meetings. We don't really exercise our opinion. And so if there's a moment of an inertia in the community, then whatever the power structure is, they're going to continue to operate in the best interest of what they think the city wants. But what I keep hearing from you guys is that that's not what you want. So somehow we have to mobilize ourselves. And we can't mobilize ourselves until we become educated. So what I'm saying is I'm voting on the no on the bond issue for now. And the no is not forever. It's just so we can get some things straight with the school. As an educator, a private educator in the community, I run into the questions of, well, why don't we do this about this? Why don't we talk to the school about this? Why isn't this being fixed in our community? And I'm saying this because I'm keeping it general. Because you have specific complaints with the school, or you don't. But honestly, I get to hear a lot of complaints, and the question I say is, why aren't you telling them? You're coming to tell me, but I don't have that responsibility. What I have the responsibility is to let you know what I know. And I can only do that if I'm informed. So as I close on my no, I have information about how they can spend the money, and that's something called the Public Use District. I'm not going to go into a lot of detail on it, but my contact information is going to be provided, my phone number and my email. And so the details, if you're really interested, I will get it out to you. If you want to be more informed, then this is what you want to keep watching. What am I going to talk about next in a different video? I'm going to talk more about specifics beyond the election. I'm going to talk about what it was like when I first started, because maybe that's where you're at. You want to get involved, but you don't know how. You can't go to the meetings, but you're still interested in knowing what's going on in the meetings. And when I'm referring to meetings, I'm referring to Board of Education, Salina Planning Commission, Parks and Rec, whatever it is your interest. You don't have to necessarily be the people there, but you do need to know what's going on so you can participate. So you're passionate about some things in the community. And so take those passions and run with it. Heck, maybe you want to help out the cable access community but don't know how. Some of those questions we'll be exploring together. I mean, the reality is I don't have all the answers. I have some answers. So that's what I'm hoping that you'll do as you come along basically this video journey with me as we explore together how I learned to know how to do this and how it's helped me to say, I don't like what we're doing and I want to change it, but I can't change it as a single person. And so I'm going to wrap it up right here, and we're just going to close with, this is Christopher Hernandez and this is my opinion, and I will continue to share my opinion as long as you want to hear it, both just in conversation or in these videos where you can choose and pick what you want to learn. Thanks for your time and have a good night.